Hello, and welcome to the Shelley Show, where you get the opportunity to meet senior industry leaders and ask them questions. Industry Cloud is SAP's strategy to extend the intelligent suite with innovative industry cloud solutions built by SAP and partners in the cloud, based on SAP's Cloud Platform, running on the cloud infrastructure of SAP and its hyperscale partners. The result is an open business and technology platform for customers' core business in their respective industries. Today, we will talk about Industry Cloud, and to get more details about Industry Cloud, I have two special guests, one from Germany and one from United Kingdom. Our first guest is Evan Schultz. Evan develops SAP's strategic services industries partner ecosystem, which comprises of four pillars: co-innovation, scaling new routes to market, and driving new cloud-based business models to accelerate revenue growth for partners and customer success as part of the industry partner ecosystem leadership team. The services include telecom, media, engineering, construction, and operations, and professional services, along with travel and transportation, sports and entertainment. Evan is passionate about and leads telecom as part of his both services and telecom leadership teams. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome Evan Schultz, Global Vice President, Head of Services Industries Ecosystem, SAP. Hi, Evan. Welcome to the Shelley Show.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you. Perhaps just a quick introduction.
Yep, go on.
Perfect. Originally from the US, currently based out of Waldorf, and I've spent time in APJ, as well as in the US and also in Europe. So definitely enjoy getting around to the different regions. In terms of career, I've done many different things functionally, kind of started out in the consulting space, so very close to the customer. Then I did a stint with product management, so defining the strategy in different industries. Then also did a stint in strategy and acquisition, where SAP made a couple of acquisitions to beef our solutions in a couple of different spaces. And finally, in strategic partnerships, which is the space that I'm in today. And from an industry point of view, have experience with retail, wholesale distribution, and as you mentioned, telecom. So definitely very happy to be with you today, and looking forward to the discussion.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So just give me a moment and I'll bring our next guest as well. For the audience, guys, for you to view this episode and other sessions that are on emerging technologies live, I would request you to follow me so that you can be alerted when the live session is on. This gives you an opportunity to directly ask questions to our guests. So please press the follow button if you're watching me on LinkedIn. If you're watching me on YouTube, press the subscribe button and smash the bell icon. If you're watching me on Twitter, then press the follow button. Okay, and if you're watching on Facebook, it's tricky. What you can do is you can press the like button. Also share this episode onto several groups where you are part of, so that more and more people can learn from what Evan has to offer and we'll talk about. Okay, and furthermore, if you've got a question, please keep that question, write that question in the comment section, and I will definitely ask that question to our guests in the audience Q&A. Our next guest is Jonty Rhodes. Well, wait, people who are watching this in India, Australia, and England, this is not the same Jonty Rhodes we used to. Another Jonty Rhodes. I call him Jonty Rhodes, but he's Jonathan Rhodes. So Jonathan Rhodes is the Global Vice President and IBU Head for Professional Services Industries at SAP. He's responsible for the SAP's overall strategy for the services industry and has helped clients deliver value through SAP solutions over the past 25 years and has been instrumental in developing the professional services industry solution and best practice processes. So let me bring to you Jonty Rhodes.
Hi, Jonathan. Hi, Shelley. I feel like I should have a cricketing outfit on and a cap or something, but And actually, for those who know England, I'm actually from Yorkshire, so we've got a good history of cricket in Yorkshire. So yeah, it's quite a compliment being called Jonty Rhodes. I'll take it as a compliment.
Absolutely. I like to tell you the truth, because I come from India, and a lot of cricketers have played with Yorkshire, like Ravi Shastri played for Yorkshire for a long time, and there were a couple others. So yeah, it's a good conversation starter. Anyways, thank you very much, John, for being on the show. And even, John, can you give a brief description about your background, where you come from, and a bit of your career history?
Yes, sure. Yeah, so as I just mentioned, originally I'm from the UK. I'm from Yorkshire. I started off my career many years ago, actually as an accountant for a chemical company, DuPont, who were an early SAP user. So I've been using SAP since the start of my career. Actually started with the R2 system way back, doing projects on R2. I eventually left there and went to Ernst & Young at the time when R3 was just being kicked off. So decided to try consultancy. Spent a little bit of time there in A.T. Kearney in consultancy before I joined SAP 1998. So I've been at SAP 22 years. And in that time, I started off in consultancy as a finance consultant, did some consultancy management, joined pre-sales for quite some time, architecture, and then joined the industry business unit for professional services about 8 years ago. And I've been the IBU head for 2 years. I've been an end user, a consultant, developing the solution. Everything you can do with SAP, I've done. So I probably bleed blue at the moment.
Good stuff. Both of you, I want to ask you one question before we delve into industry cloud. You've been working for SAP, both of you, for a long time. I'm pretty in front of you guys. I'm just a newbie. So tell me, what is the most rewarding aspect of working for SAP for our audience?
Yeah, I mean, I kick off, because I mean, I think I got the best job at SAP, and I'm very biased because it's my job. But in industries, we do a little bit of everything. So we do thought leadership. We've got working with development to guide the product direction, and for a certain amount of time, we actually did development. We work closely with customers. I've got customers, so I did implementations at Deloitte and PwC, EY. So I've got customers who are friends. We've been working together for 20 years almost. And then we do pre-sales, post-sales. So I get to see everything, the full gambit at SAP, which is really exciting. We see the whole thing. So I can't think of a better job where you can do every single thing that SAP does. It's very rewarding. Yeah, so love it.
Good stuff. Evan, for you, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the most rewarding thing is the diversity of people that we get to work with, right? I mean, we have people from different languages, different cultures, different functional backgrounds, and oftentimes half of the battle is just getting to speaking the right language so we can understand each other. And then, to drill it down into the partner customer angle, I think it's great to take a partnership from the beginning of architecting it to closing the first deal with the customer, right? Which is really the first milestone, so you can see some success. And there's great reward in following that process from start to finish.
Very interesting. Okay, before I get into industry cloud, one fun fact for both of you, which not everyone knows, and you are live on social media, so be careful.
To be careful with this one.
Even
I'll kick it off. Perhaps a little known fact is that I'm actually a foosball champion. So table soccer. Table soccer, yes. I'm the reigning champion here in my local town in Germany for table soccer. I probably played way too much foosball when I was at university.
Okay, John, apart from
I'm glad I know that, because we had a team outing one time. We played football, and now I know that Evan's a ringer and he can beat everybody. I'm going to watch out for that. But so I'll keep the football theme going, actually. But even though I travel a hell of a lot, I used to do when we still travelled. and I'm going to keep the football theme going, as I said, because I play football at least twice a week, both 5-a-side and 11-a-side, and try to run a team. So when you're traveling a lot with SAP, that's a bit of a challenge, trying to make sure you've got 10 people, 11 people out every week. But yeah, I'll keep it interesting, quite easy given the social media. But yeah.
Perfect. Okay, guys, industry cloud. Explain. Who's going first? What is industry cloud? What's this big noise about industry cloud all over social media? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, let me have a go first. I mean, for me, it's a fantastic opportunity for everybody to win, for customers, for SAP, for partners. Essentially, it's providing industry-focused solutions which are integrated with SAP and extend the capability of SAP. And if we think about what that allows customers to do, it's really allowing them to take advantage of innovation and breakthrough in the cloud. And we'll come to this later, but irrespective of what their deployments are of SAP, whether they're on-premise or in cloud, and really have, as I said, exciting innovations. And the key to it, why is it industry cloud? It's that these solutions are either built on or integrated by a cloud platform. So it's a cloud paradigm, a cloud mentality, and the fact that the solutions are built by both SAP partners or even ecosystem solutions that exist mean that we've got a broad range of solutions we can offer. So it's extending practices, it's extending capabilities, and what is exciting as well is that if you imagine it's increasing the capacity for us to bring innovation to market with the partners and ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Evan, you want to add something to it?
Yeah, sure. I think that industry cloud is really the true battleground for the hearts and minds of customers. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that specifically is that it's really all about demonstrating industry acumen and being able to bring these industry relevant solutions to bear, and being able to meet the needs of a customer and help them to differentiate from their own competition within their industry and meet the needs of not only the customer, but also the customer's customer. So I think that agile and innovation mindset is really a key to being successful in the current market.
Mm-hmm. So that also means that people can learn from our experiences across various industries as well?
Absolutely, I think. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's also opportunities here to bring solutions to bear across multiple industries. I mean, it's about meeting the needs of an industry, but in some cases, you may have lines of business like supply chain or customer intimacy relevant solutions that go across multiple industries that are certainly relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I like to add a little bit. If you think about business models and the way they're changing, and this concept of everything's a service or software everywhere, then something which you may think is applicable to one industry very quickly becomes applicable to many, and that's where they need to adopt these business models quickly, and that's where some of this cloud-based innovation can come in.
Perfect. I just see that there are more than 50 people watching this episode live at the moment. Guys, if you've got any question regarding industry cloud or anything for Evan or John personally, put that in the comment section and we will take that question in the audience Q&A section. Coming back to industry cloud, guys, so how is SAP Industry Cloud different from SAP's cloud platform itself? What is the difference? John?
Yeah, once again, I mean, cloud platform, essentially of a business technology platform, is the underlying technology. So when we talk about industry cloud, actually, it's all the content and innovation which SAP and our partners are bringing on top of that underlying technology. So if you think of, and I know it's not an empty vessel, but cloud platform gives you the underlying pieces to work with, and then the industry cloud are industry-specific applications which are developed by, and I will obviously say this again, ourselves, we're taking some functionality and building that on the business technology platform, certainly our partners, but then also, and we may talk about this a little bit more later, it could be an ecosystem player which has an existing application on a different cloud technology, which we integrate via cloud platform. So cloud platform is the enabler, but the industry cloud is all the innovation that comes on top of it.
Okay, Evan, you want to add something? Or?
Yeah, certainly. I think that the industry cloud piece of it is really the applications, but also the content and the integration that is brought to bear by partners. We don't claim to be able to deliver all the innovation to the market. So it's really key for us to work with partners of all shapes and sizes. That's another thing that I want to emphasize. If there's innovation out there in the market, then we're interested in embracing it if it meets a key customer need.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. One more question around, does SAP Industry Cloud support native cloud applications developed using non-SAP product line as well? The technology which is outside of SAP, is that also supported on SAP Industry Cloud?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, a key part of the strategy is that we recognize that the market reality out there is that, there's a host of applications that have been built on all different kinds of platforms. But I think the key is to deliver value to the customer. The starting point is to have an integration between the partner application and SAP, because that really is, the beginning of 1 + 1 = 3.
Yep.
And ultimately, we would love for partners to architect their solutions on the SAP Cloud Platform. But again, we recognize that the market reality is such that many of the applications out there have been built on other platforms. So we're definitely open to multiple platforms.
So it becomes an open platform in the end where you can access what's on SAP environment plus what's on other environments as well, and you can bring it all together on one platform. Is that what they're saying?
Absolutely, yes, correct.
Brilliant. And that's really a game changer, because coming from my previous life where I was a customer, I was told that, if it is SAP, it's only SAP. Now this is opening it up to others as well, which is great, which is great news for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give an example as well. So one of our launch applications is an established player, and a key business process in professional services is recording time. Time is money, it's the old adage, and they provide capabilities to do this, which are, leading edge, state of the art. There is no point in us forcing them or asking them to move their platform over to SAP. They already had an established platform. But what we can do is use Cloud Platform to integrate and provide that tight integration to our solutions, and also make the applications available within the SAP App Center. So it's as I said, a win-win. The customer gets to have state-of-the-art functionality certified and integrated through Cloud Platform and available on the App Center. So it's a curated experience almost as well.
Okay, brilliant stuff. Now let's divide the next section into basically two parts. Let's talk about partners. There are lots of partners who are watching this episode as well. So I think it will be a good idea to answer some of the questions which a partner would have, and then from a partner's point of view. And then we will talk about the customer from a client's or a customer's point of view. We'll talk about that as well. So let's start with a partner. So what are the benefits to a partner? And even maybe you can explain that, considering your background. What are the benefits a partner has?
Sure. Well, we think that this is a great opportunity because of what we talked about before, that this is a key battleground to winning the hearts and minds of customers. So the real opportunity for a partner is that they can build IP to scale their business. So, in many cases, partners may be in a niche area or maybe a particular geography of the world, but this is an opportunity for them to truly scale their business and then meet a strategic white space in an industry solution map. So what that means is really, meeting a key business need of a customer, and therefore, coming to the forefront, in the industry and being really a thought leader in that industry. I think the second piece is really to drive incremental, profitable revenue via agile cloud business solutions. So really, the new business model having renewable revenue and being able to build that business out. And then lastly, I think the market reach is a key, so really being able to connect in with the SAP ecosystem and the hundreds of thousands of existing SAP customers and tap into that.
Okay, so I'm thinking like a partner at the moment in asking those questions, but to all those partners who are watching this, if you've got a question in your mind, please put that in the comment section and I'll definitely take that question. in the audience Q&A. Okay, next question from a partner's point of view is, how can partners engage with SAP on Industry Cloud? What do they do?
Well, I think the first step really is enablement. So getting the partners up to speed on what Industry Cloud is and what the opportunities are specifically, in their area of expertise. The second piece is helping them with development. So we want to make sure that they're familiar with SAP Cloud Platform and how to connect to that, and also the SAP solutions so that they're adding value, to the customer. And then finally, what is the joint go-to-market motion? So how do we monetize the solution out in the market? And, I think the starting point, of course, is the IP. And we have a so-called partner software progression journey. And what that means is that we will work together with the partner to grow their business over time and up-level the level of partnership that we have together with that solution provider, both from a go-to-market standpoint, but also from an IP standpoint. And then, one other piece is that it's critical that the solution fills a white space. So it has to really meet a critical customer need, but also a white space, meaning that something that SAP currently does not have in terms of innovation and is not planning to build in the foreseeable future. So it has to fit with the SAP portfolio.
So you're trying to say that partners can build their own solutions, own industry solutions, and bring that to the platform?
Yeah, they can do that, or they can also extend existing SAP solutions. So there's lots of examples of that, both on the application side or also on the content side. As an implementation enabler, a lot of customers are interested in content, and this comes to bear, especially when we talk about industry, right? I mean, there's standard makings bodies that have certain ways of defining, for example, master data and structuring it that's pertinent for an industry. So there's a lot of value in that as well, right? Because customers are looking for time to value. And so anytime that we can deliver that content, we can speed up that process of time to value for a customer.
So let's think about this. I'm a partner and I've got a solution in mind which I think is relevant to a particular industry. What do I do? How do I go about it? Do I come directly to you, or is there a process in place? How does that work?
Yeah, there's definitely a process in place. So again, I think the starting point is, what exactly is the solution doing, and what customer need is it meeting, and then what industries is it relevant for? And then we would do some quick analysis in terms of, is that a solution that is competitive to SAP, or is it something that we don't have a solution for today? And then we would dive into that a little bit deeper in terms of, okay, what's the landscape of customers that the partner currently has today, and what would be the most appropriate go-to-market selling motion together with that partner.
Okay, that's a good way of doing it. So what is the go-to-market strategy for partners? So is there anything you want to share there?
Yeah, so the starting point is to get the application listed on the App Center, which is kind of like, the SAP version of iTunes. So that's an opportunity to expose the partner solution to hundreds of thousands of SAP customers, and also, market that through the online channel. And then we have, as I had mentioned before, the software progression journey. So the software progression journey has 4 steps. It's a very defined process and set of criteria in terms of how we work together with partners in different business models as they grow their business. So it's a real opportunity to start, kind of at the foundation, and then grow the business over time together with SAP. Because, ultimately, it's important for us that the partners are successful, because SAP is only successful if the partners are successful. And in the end, of course, we want to have happy and referenceable customers, which is the gold standard.
Now, this is another thing I love about SAP, with that statement, which is so true to us, that SAP will be successful if the partners are successful. So I think that's a huge statement in itself, that how it takes care of its partners and so forth. So I think that's a great thing to say as well. So what are the commercial partner models at the moment? Are there any models already in place, or are we working towards that? And you can decide not to answer that question as well. It depends. I'm just trying to think like a partner at the moment. So, this is how it goes.
Yeah, so I think we have to differentiate a little bit on what kind of partners we have, right? So what we're talking about specifically here are solution providers. So they have some kind of IP. Of course, we work together with other partners that, for example, resell SAP solutions, or also where we have a joint go-to-market selling motion. And of course, we know that there's hybrids out there in the market, so there are partners that do multiple things there. But focusing on the solution providers, which are partners that primarily have IP, there's 4 different commercial models. These are all mature models that we've been working with partners, and they're proven out to be successful for quite some time now. So this is the software progression journey with the 4 different options. So you start as a validated partner, which means that you have a certified solution and that you are listed on the App Center. So that's kind of the foundational starting point in the partnership. And it's an opportunity to test drive together with customers to see what kind of traction we're getting out in the market. And then from there we move on. And the benefits to the partner increase on both the go-to-market side as well as the technology side. So the next step would be Spotlight, and then Endorsed, and then finally a solution extension, which those are invitation-only programs, and it would be such that the partner solution would be listed on the SAP price list, and typically positioned side by side together with the SAP solutions.
So partners, all the partners who are watching this is a kind of a commercial model that you start with, and this is how you go about it. I think I'm trying to get into my head that on the other side of things, how can a partner solution be chosen for Industry Cloud? What happens? I've got a solution now, I've built it. How does it get onto the Industry Cloud? Evan?
Right, sure. So I think the first thing is to look at a couple of metrics. So what kind of customer success has that solution had, and in what industries? So we have to take a look at what the maturity level of the solution is and the adoption in the market. The next thing, of course, is that we need to make sure that it meets a critical business need from an industry point of view, for that industry. And then that it's a cloud application is key. Because we're really looking to drive out those new business models in the cloud. And then finally, as we mentioned before, it has to fill a white space in a solution map. So meaning that, SAP does not have a solution for that particular area right now, and we do not have the intent to build it out in the foreseeable future. So that's really the starting point to look at, those criteria and think about how we can work together in the market and be successful. Because again, we don't intend to, nor do we believe that we can drive all the innovation out in the market. And then also, only through partners can SAP scale, right? Because otherwise we'll have limits in how much we can grow our business. So we have some very aggressive, corporate growth goals. And one of the key levers of that growth is Industry Cloud. So this is really being looked at from a CEO level on down.
Yes, that I'm aware of. And so we see that the kind of noise that we've been seeing on social media in the last few days leading up to the launch of Industry Cloud. And I'm so privileged that I had the opportunity to speak to you guys to talk about Industry Cloud to the audience, to my audience here. To all the partners, guys, this is great. And this is what I could think of in terms of questions. If you've got a question, if you think that I've missed anything, please put that in the comment section. And also, please share this video with other partners as well, so that they also get to learn from what Evan is saying. And then please, if you've got a question, put that in the comment section, and I will definitely take that. Having said that, we've got more than 60 people watching this live at the moment. And I would like you to please like the video and share it with other groups, so more and more people can understand and learn from these two gentlemen on Industry Cloud, and slowly we can talk more and more about Industry Cloud as we go. Now let's change gears and talk about, from partners, talk about customers and talk about our clients. So John, can you help me understand what is the benefit for our clients, for our customers?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the first one, which I think Evan picked up on, was it's introducing capabilities which are white space, which SAP doesn't actually handle at the moment. And typically these are, as I mentioned, we're almost curating and identifying things which would be significant benefit to our customers. And I think also, as well as having this white space and innovation, typically if we think about, I'll call it old SAP, but when we used to provide innovation, it potentially would be on our core ERP platform, on ECC or S4HANA. So to get that innovation, you potentially would have to wait until your next upgrade in order to realize that innovation. What we're doing, providing, and Evan did mention this, agile cloud-based solutions, which can be added to their core processes at any time. So you see, you've got, once again, huge benefits of white space innovation, rapid adoption, because you've got the agility there, and cloud-based. So typically what we're looking at is providing applications which are quick to adopt as well. A cloud paradigm of being more of a fit to standard. So it's an innovation which is rapidly adopted, quick time to value, and it's white space as well. So it's huge benefits to the customers.
Okay. Sorry. Guys, any questions, put that in the comment section, and please don't forget to like and share this video. We want more and more people to learn from this video. Okay, tell us, how can on-prem customers who are already customers benefit from the Industry Cloud? How can they move? Do they have to move on or to Industry Cloud? And if they do, how can they move? If I'm an on-prem customer, what do I do to move on to Industry Cloud?
Yeah, so and I think this is one of the key benefits for me, is that the Industry Cloud solutions can be used with our on-premise and our cloud-based solutions. So S4 on-premise or S4 cloud. There may be a timing where it may be cloud first, but the objective is to make it available to both on-prem customers and cloud customers. And that's one of the key advantages for me, is you don't need to move to cloud, and potentially you don't need to do an upgrade to take advantage of these innovations as well. So definitely it's applicable to both. I mean, and what I would say as well is, which I maybe missed out of the first point, is we're also introducing, this idea of the partner solutions, but also ecosystem solutions, which we can integrate to on-prem. So it may be that there's an established player which we now provide this predefined integration to the on-prem system, so that it makes it easier to consume, rather than a project where we need to figure out how it all comes together itself. So definitely it's applicable to both on-prem and cloud customers, and that's the key to me in terms of this hybrid approach and quick adoption.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry, Shelley, I will and maybe pick up, because I think there was one in a comment, I think somebody had asked around, how is Industry Cloud different to industry solutions in S4HANA, or in public cloud or private or on-premise. I think the key is that a lot of industry solutions previously, it was part of the core ERP. And to a degree, we still have examples of that. But Industry Cloud is essentially saying we'll have the innovation in the cloud outside that core ERP, which is easiest to adopt. So it is quite a different shift of putting all the industry capabilities and innovation in that core S4 platform. We're essentially providing it with agile cloud solutions which tightly integrate. So it is quite very different to the question which was asked. Yeah.
Okay, so coming back to that, I think there are a few benefits which I see in this particular model, is that you can leverage a lot of that machine learning components and the artificial intelligence components that are lying in the cloud, and people can learn from that. And also they can use some of the existing templates or some of the existing apps from other partners and cross-pollinate. Is that what we're saying? That can happen too?
Yeah, I mean, certainly the whole idea that because these things are built on cloud platform, there's the underlying capabilities such as AI, ML, and all these capabilities. So one use case which we have with a partner, they're developing this sales and operations planning for services, where they will take data from multiple different places and apply predictive into that. Now, we're already in discussions with that partner and another partner about how they could potentially take their solutions, so that once I've done this sales and operations planning, it then comes into bidding and then into resource management. So I think we will see this linking together of solutions. And this, once again, I think I'm passionate about this, is we shouldn't be just giving industry cloud solutions which are isolated and just put out there on the side. It should be part of our overall industry value chain. So I want to make sure that our industry cloud solutions fit in to that end-to-end process very neatly, and I can go from an industry cloud solution into S4, an industry cloud solution S4, and it's just a seamless process from a user perspective. Yeah.
Brilliant, great explanation. To the audience, guys, I'm thinking of questions around clients and customers as much as I can. If you've got a question which you think is relevant to industry cloud, please put that in the comment section and I will take that up. Okay, John, in my view, there are two kinds of customers: new customers and existing customers. So explain to us, how does a new customer join the industry cloud revolution? And then explain to us how an existing customer who already is part of an SAP, has got SAP suite, how does he move on to industry cloud?
Yeah, sure. And then I'll take a practical use case probably. So we're working with a prospect or a customer at the moment where they need a core professional services solution, which is, in the case we're providing this with S4 public cloud, which has got fantastic professional services functionality. They've also got a large employee base who need to do complex time recording every day. So one of our industry cloud solutions is providing that complex time recording, and then we've got a core end-to-end engagement management with S4. So our proposition and proposal to them is that we give them an end-to-end integrated solution with the specialist time provider and S4, and it gives them the best of both worlds. So that would be a new customer where we see our target architecture having industry cloud and S4HANA public cloud. From an existing customer, it may be that they are still using some older SAP functionality to do that time recording, or they've developed a custom app which is they're having to maintain. It's in ABAP, in GUI screens and things like that. We can come to our customer and say, hey, we've got this innovative way where rather than have to key in the time, the time capture is intelligently determined. It saves time for your people, and you can just plug that into your existing system. So in both cases, it's a fantastic result for their end users. One is plugging into their existing architecture. The other is giving them a future-proof architecture going forward, brand new greenfield.
Okay, you mentioned use cases. So any use case that comes to mind that you see you want to share with the audience? I'll start with John and then Evan. I want one use case from each one of you.
Yeah, and I did mention it briefly, but I think it's quite exciting. So for many years, I've been working with professional service firms, and the secret sauce of a professional service firm is trying to balance what the customer wants with what you can give them. And often you'll do it at a detailed level, what we call resource management. But but that's quite tactical. It's because the customer needs it, and you have to give it to them as soon as possible, and that's a resource management. What you don't have is something which has existed in manufacturing for quite some time, which is a sales and operations planning, which is trying to predict what is my demand coming down, from my pipeline, and what is the supply of people I've got, and how is that changing? And if you think about, changing skills, if I wait until the world has shifted to cloud and then try and retrain all my people, it's too late, because the customer's saying, give me cloud consultants, and you're saying, well, I've got lots of on-premise consultants. So one of the use cases we're working with a partner is and we're calling it that sales and operations planning for service organizations, because we can't think of anything better to call it, because that's what it's doing. It's saying, what is the demand from opportunities, from trends, of active projects? What do I have in terms of my own people or externals which I could bring, and where do I need to change those? And it brings them together intelligently, using predictive and trying to use some of these new technologies to say, where will my business be in 6 months, a year's time, and how do I need to change it? And it's taking a completely holistic approach, and we've not seen it anywhere. There's no other apps. So back to Evan's point, it's a white space out in the market and for SAP. So really exciting to try and have that crystal ball of services. yeah, very exciting.
Mm-hmm. Evan?
Yeah, for a use case, I think I would go back to telecom, right? So the big elephant in the room in telecom is 5G.
Yep.
Which is not only a telecom thing, but the telecoms are looking at a huge investment. They spend something like 7 out of 10 of their dollars in the network. And so the question is, how can they monetize that network? And so what we're doing is looking at an ecosystem of partners around the telecom tower, right? Because the telecom tower is a very expensive asset that needs to be maintained. And 5G has a lot of additional considerations. For example, energy. So there's a huge energy management aspect of managing a 5G telecom tower, because you need to make sure that the tower is cool enough that it doesn't blow up. And so you have to have air conditioning systems and energy management. And there are some very innovative partners that have solutions for monitoring energy and optimizing energy of a telecom tower. The other piece I think there is the maintenance. So how do I proactively look at the telecom tower and what I might need to maintain, because a particular part within that tower, based on its usage and the environmental conditions, has kind of met end of life. So I can proactively replace that and I don't have any downtime in the tower. And then there's a lot of other neat things that you can do that are potentially cross-industry, right? It's a heavy-duty asset that has a high value, which you have in other industries like utilities and a few other ones as well, maybe construction as well. And so there's a lot of innovative technologies around drones that can take pictures of the telecom tower and kind of see, okay, this is maybe why it's not working. Because in many cases, they're in very remote locations. So that's one aspect. And then really, with 5G, it's not about the technology and the speed and the low latency. It's about how do I solve the business problem of the customer, for example, in the manufacturing space. So we're working together with telecoms in order to help them figure that out, right? It's not just about shiny, faster. It's about how can I solve the business problems of this manufacturing company. For example, when they're switching over the line from manufacturing a certain piece of equipment to a different one, right? How do I do that more efficiently? And how do I make sure that there's no latency in that chain of information that I need real time during the manufacturing process? So that's a great example of how partners can come and help SAP, because we do the finance and the asset management aspects, but there's a ton of different opportunities to optimize the use and monetization of that asset.
No, absolutely. And I think that's where we can work together with the partners and the customers themselves, because it is about creating the ecosystem. And I think that is the industry cloud is a perfect way to actually make that happen. And you mentioned about drones. I had a conversation with one of a senior agricultural leader who's based out of India and actually works very closely with the PMO office, the Prime Minister's office there. And he was telling me how they're using drones to understand how agricultural lands is being utilized and not. So the opportunity is immense, and it's not about it's not only about what you collect in terms of data, it's also about what you do with it in real time and provide output by cross-pollinating it against other data sources that are available. And that can only be done if it is if the knowledge is available in somewhere in the cloud and can be reutilized. And I think that's a great thing to do, and I think industry cloud makes it perfectly out there. Any other comment, John? Sorry, John, any comment?
No, I think this is the key thing about industry cloud, and I think we'll probably get this in the questions. The idea is that they can be very innovative use cases which can be complementary to existing SAP solutions, and that's key. They're not standalone, they integrate to the SAP solution. That's part of the definition of an industry cloud. And it allows us to provide this very quick and innovative value to customers, and we'll continue to do that across all industries. And that's, the strategy going forward is providing that content and, curated innovation, which should excite a lot of the both the partners and customers, definitely.
Good stuff. Guys, we still have more than 50 people watching this live. Guys, if you've got any question, please mention that in the in the comment section, and I will take that in just a minute in the audience Q&A section. And also, guys, if you're liking what you're watching, please like this video on Facebook if you're watching it on Facebook. If you're watching it on YouTube, please press the subscribe button and smash the bell icon. If you're watching it on LinkedIn, please follow me so that you can get alerted when the next video or next session is on. Okay, coming to the Q&A section, and we start with the question. So this is, guys, audience, this is your last opportunity to ask a question. And here we go. And I'll start with the questions as we say.
I think there was a question about IoT, which might be a good one.
I will go one by one to all the questions. Don't worry. As I said, I promise all questions will be taken. Let's go. Okay. Kata Nani. Hi, Kata. How are you? And he says, hi, sir. I'm very much interested to learn SAP HANA. Well, great. You should be. And for that, please watch another video which I've got, which is on Open SAP. You will find a lot of information there on how to get started with SAP HANA. Okay. Anindya Gupta. Hi, Anindya. How are you? And he's saying, how do you plan for gamification functionalities on S4 HANA? Users would like to express their happiness with a transaction.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a little bit of this. I mean, we're not been really looking at the happiness with a transaction, but more, I'll take it as happiness with the way a transaction works rather than an actual individual transaction. But we have been looking at taking some of the Qualtrics, and that's already embedded in S4 Public Cloud, where you can use it to give feedback on how the application is running and what it looks like and do that. I think that's more relevant than the true gamification, because it allows us to then improve our solution. So that's the nearest we can get in terms of applying happiness to something that's happening within an SAP system.
And I'm sure, Anindya, you've got it. Gamification is an important aspect, and it's not only about gamification; it's also understanding the NPS and the way the transaction has gone, that particular transaction, the mood of the customer as well, and that is, as John mentioned, is being looked after.
Yeah, just to comment on the NPS, because you mentioned that the Net Promoter Score. That's also a great opportunity to work together with partners, right? Because the questions that lead to that scoring, as well as the content, could be different by industry. Yeah, so we do have partners that are working together with us to build out those particular questions as well as the scoring. And it's a great way of engaging in a business conversation with a customer, right? To say, hey, your competition has an NPS score of X, and you were behind the ball here, right? So what do we need to do in order to build that out over time? So it's not a software discussion, but it's a business discussion, which ultimately might lead to a software solution. So it's a great way to engage with customers. And there's quite a few strategic consulting companies and also system integrators that we're working with in that space. Absolutely,
and I've been a culprit. And implemented a couple of NPS projects. We can talk about it. And also, people who are watching from outside of Australia. In Australia, lots of organizations have made the bonuses of the execs based on the NPS score of the organization. So it is getting important, as we say. Okay, next question. Next question is from Anindya itself, saying, are there plans for real-time integration which will allow us to ready configurations, validations in S4 and manage custom transaction apps on the SAP Cloud?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. So I guess, and I'm talking particularly about my experience of S4 Public Cloud and Cloud Platform. So this idea of side-by-side extensibility. So that's essentially what we see as a key use case, which is going to be enabled with Industry Cloud, where partners can build applications and have this real-time integration. So first of all, there's the whitelisting of APIs and how all that is managed. Longer term, we have what we call central business configuration, which will be used to manage some of these configurations, certainly for the SAP apps, which are on Industry Cloud on Cloud Platform, but also to manage those integrations with partner apps as well. So certainly from the S4 public cloud, there's already quite a lot there, and we've got a clear direction with central business configuration to make that even easier as well.
Yeah, just to comment on the real-time integration, I think that depends, of course, on what the true business need is and what the cost of that is, right? So if you think about an industry like retail, where they have stores all over the place, and a point of sale solution that is, uploading various information about inventory, pricing, customer, sentiment to a corporate headquarters. The question is, what information do you need, and do you really need a trickle pull of that? Or can you do that 2-3 times a day? And what's delivering the most business value?
Okay, you've touched a nerve here. I used to work for a retailer, and this was exactly the conversation that was going on. So we had 900 stores across Australia, and we used to get data from each store in the night, sometime around from midnight to the morning. And then someone said, we could do trickle feed. Very good, we could do trickle feed. But then came the cost. The cost to do the trickle feed, was that enough to justify whether we need a trickle feed, or are we happy with the overnight transfer of data? And
right. And is the business agile enough to react to that information, right? I mean, even if you have it, what are you going to do with it? How can you execute on it?
Absolutely, absolutely. So yes, you're absolutely right, Evan, on that. Okay, next question, Shahnawaz Alam. Hi Shahnawaz, how are you? It says, will Industry Cloud be hosted on any of the hyperscalers, AWS, Azure, or GCP?
I mean, it already is. I mean, if you just go search for SAP Cloud Platform Discovery, there's a map which shows the various different locations of the hyperscalers where Cloud Platform. So let's be clear. I mean, Industry Cloud itself is, by definition, it's either running on Cloud Platform or it's integrated via Cloud Platform. So in terms of the hyperscaler question, yeah, we already do.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a critical part of our strategy, and the hyperscalers also, of course, have a role to play on the industry content side, right? Because they have machine learning capabilities that often link up, with some of the industries, especially, for example, retail, right, comes to mind, where they have lots of experience there and are able to add some additional business value. So it's not only about hosting the application, but also the added business value that they're offering in terms of applications.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next question is from Praveen Mangaonkar. Hi Praveen, how are you? And he's saying how this industry cloud is different from industry solutions delivered on S4HANA public and private cloud.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key for me is to make this more agile. The innovation is on Cloud Platform as opposed to part of S4HANA Core. So I think historically we used to try and embed all our industry functionality in ERP Core, whether it was ECC or S4. What we're doing is essentially either carving this functionality out or having innovation outside of S4, but tightly integrated. So that's how it's different. It's essentially taking it outside of that core or integrating functionality outside the core with SAP solutions.
And it's also relevant for a particular industry, right? It's meeting a business need in an industry, as opposed to being, more of a horizontal or cross-industry type application for line of business.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next question is for you, Evan. Armin. Hi, Armin. How are you? And he's saying, where do a partner need to call when entering into a communication on a potential partner solution for the industry cloud?
Right. 1-800-Industry Cloud. No, I mean, all kidding aside. I mean, the starting point is certainly out on the SAP website, right? With, what is Industry Cloud? And I think we talked about, the starting point for a partner, right? So, what kind of IP do you have? What critical need are you meeting in terms of customer? What industries are you present in? And what customers do you currently have that are in that space? And then we can take a look at what kind of a fit that would be, because we also have a series of launch industries. Of course, Industry Cloud will become available over time as we mature out that solution for each of the different industries. So there's currently 7 launch industries. Well, there's currently 4, and we're about to launch an additional 3. And then over time, we'll continue to launch the remaining industries at SAP. So yeah, happy to engage in a conversation about that.
And you can talk to Evan as well.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is from Yarla Gada. Hi Yarla Gada, how are you? SAP DE/in must have or many for many ideologies for multiple industries and their verticals. So they should be able to give and support for each vertical like oil, manufacturing, etc. Comment. I think yes, they should be. There's no question in it. Okay, next.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
yeah, and I think just to Evan did answer this. That a target is that all industries will have an industry cloud strategy and apps, and then there's waves of industries. So we'll have the 7 out by the end of this week, and then we'll see that increasingly. But it is across all industries that will go to market from an industry cloud perspective, definitely.
And they can use. Sorry,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, amongst the 7 industries, so retail is something that we are launching, in the next week or so. Manufacturing, which is roughly IM&C, so componentry and manufacturing is an industry that we're also launching. So there would be opportunities to snap into that as well and look at, okay, what are the key solutions that we're looking for in that space?
Okay. Next question is from Praveen. How many industries are covered under industry cloud and adoption rate in the marketplace currently?
Right. So as we said, currently we're at 4 industries, soon to be at 7, and the remaining industries will be launched over time. We have a launch plan as to when we'll be doing that, so it'll be spaced out a little bit. In terms of adoption rate, it's like pancakes, right? It's flying right off of the shelf. No, but seriously, I mean, that's a key for us, right? I mean, the first customer win is always the most difficult. And so, one of the key measurements for success here is customer adoption. And we really want to do this in a cloud-like way. So we want customers to try it and to provide feedback, early feedback as to, what value they're getting out of the solution.
Okay. Next question is from, this is from Soumya Moni. I don't know why the name is not appearing there. And she says, how can SAP partners get into an industry cloud partnership? Now, Soumya Moni works for Inkshare Technologies, which is an SAP partner already. So, Evan, to you.
Yeah, sure. So the first thing would be to reach out to your current partner manager. So you should have somebody at SAP that's responsible for the overall relationship between you and SAP, and make sure that individual is aware of your interest. And then, as we've said before, we need to look at a couple of criteria. So what kind of a solution do you have? What critical business need does it meet? What's the white space that it might fill, and what industries and customers is it present in? So that's the starting point for the discussion, and then we can look at what the appropriate level of partnership is.
Okay. Next question is from Kumar Prasoon on LinkedIn, and he says, third-party sensors and IoT platform in industry cloud. What is your take? Challenges for customers? John, you want to go?
I'll give it a go. I must admit, it's not really my industry sweet spot, but I mean, for me, the one of the innovations which we want to bring from an industry cloud perspective is have either the hardware, so we could have hardware vendors who provide the hardware and a solution which integrates into SAP. So if we take the maintenance example, so I know we've got one example of IoT sensors giving vibrations on trains and pulling this back in. Now that's been done on project scenarios with partners. We could see a more standardized solution coming from an industry cloud partner where there's a package which says you subscribe to the industry cloud, which includes the hardware, which does the integration into SAP so that I can do more of this whole predictive rather than scheduled maintenance. and you buy it as a service. So that's what we're seeing is directionally, rather than have to do a project where I'll buy the sensors, I'll buy this, I'll buy that, you subscribe to an ecosystem player as a service with everything involved in that. And we'll see that with, smart buildings, with, maintenance on different assets and things like that. That's where I think the direction's going.
Evan?
Yeah, sure. So this is right up my alley. I think the first key on IoT is the number of partners that you have to deal with in order to get a business solution. So it's really key to have a partner that's in the lead and collecting all those different things, because as mentioned here, it's about the sensors, it's about transferring the data from the sensors to some kind of a central server. It's also about not only collecting the data, but what are you going to do with the data? How often do you want to collect it? What critical data do you need to collect? Are you just collecting data for the sake of collecting data? So the sheer number of partners that you need to engage with, is oftentimes a bit of a barrier for customers. The second piece is the cost. So you need to get that foundation in place in order to be able to gather that data, but also collect the data over time, right? So that's a key thing. We did, for example, just to bring this to a concrete example, some testing together with a manufacturer of farming equipment. And so what we did is we put a bunch of sensors into the farming equipment, and typically the time frame for harvest is very short. It's like 20 days. And so, if your equipment breaks down during that 20-day time period, you could lose the entire crop. And the thing is that, this equipment is normally quite expensive. And so what we did is we put these sensors in this equipment so that we could predict with a certain degree of certainty when it would break down and then proactively replace that. And then after we collected all that data based on usage and environment and such, we inputted that into the engineering process of creating better equipment and replacement parts in the future as well. So that was quite a nice way of working together with the manufacturer, but also it's not only again about collecting the data, but knowing about the context of how to use that data proactively in order to solve a business problem. And the other thing that it did is it brought the manufacturer much closer to the end user, because they were working through distributors previously and really didn't have that much contact with the actual farmers. So there were a lot of benefits in that whole process.
No, and then totally agree with you. It's all about the ecosystem, because most of the time these IoT projects fail because you don't get the right few things. You don't get the right products that can collect data, and then there is an integration issue. The APIs are not in place, and because that ecosystem is not working or humming, there is always a problem with getting all that data lying at one place and is not going to somewhere where you can do something about it. And I think that is where industry cloud can play a huge role, where the ecosystem gets into place and people or customers can just come in and say, I want to solve that problem. And for that, what does the ecosystem look like? Who are the end user IoT devices providers, and who are the who's going to do what and so forth. So it becomes quite easy to run that through, and I think that's a great play here.
Yeah, and also being able to use the data to make a next best action recommendation, right? So it's one thing to look at the data, and it's another thing to develop some algorithms around, what should I actually do on the execution side in order to fix that and make it scalable.
Absolutely. Okay, next question is from Abhishek Sharma. Hi Abhishek, how are you? He says, to extend your question of how to move to industry cloud, what's the impetus that lies on why to move, especially when the investment for the same has been made with other hyperscalers?
I mean, I think this comes back to what is the industry cloud. So the industry cloud is not just a technology platform. It's not just saying here's SAP Cloud Platform, go build something. It's actually the content and the applications and the value add apps which we bring. So I think that's really the impetus, is to get this breakthrough innovation provided by SAP partners and ecosystem rather than a technology platform. Because I think if an investment has been made in a hyperscaler, it's maybe just as a technology or a hosting platform or custom build, whereas we're bringing this innovation from various different areas.
Totally agree with you on that, because it's not about just hosting or just having a technology platform available. It's about learning from the experiences. The experience SAP has across multiple industries, across multiple organizations. When it comes into play on the industry cloud, I think it makes a huge difference. And you can very simply compare it to any other hyperscaler and say, well, guys, we know far more than anyone else. And as we know that how much 76% of the world's transactions go through an SAP system. So that means the kind of knowledge that lies in the systems that we've got can be replicated across and learned from, which you won't find in other hyperscalers.
Yeah, just one other point on that. I think the key is that we want to make sure that we give the customers choices, and that they're able to select the hyperscaler that they want to use, based on the considerations. And SAP is of course capable of hosting it as well. But to John's point, it's about the application and meeting the business needs. So it's beyond hosting.
Okay, next question again from Soumya Moni. I mentioned, I don't know why her name is not showing up, but she's saying, what investments are being made in industry cloud for partners so both can see quick returns and adoption?
Right. So there are a number of investments that are being made in order to get the time to market, moving more quickly. Specifically around the technical enablement for the partner. So what does it really take to put together a certification in terms of, what information needs to go back and forth between the various systems, which SAP solution, typically S4, but it doesn't have to be, makes the most sense. How do I use SAP Cloud in order to drive that integration? And not only from a technical point of view, but also from a business value point of view. So on the engineering side, we're making a lot of investments in order to get that time to value moving more quickly. And then the other thing is, there's a certain process in place in order to architect and launch a partnership. For example, we want to make sure that the partner is in good financial health and, that they have a viable business. And so these things take a bit of time, but, we think that it's worth the upfront time investment in order to make sure that both parties, SAP and the partner, are comfortable with each other and confident that we can be successful out in the marketplace. Because I think it's 60 or 70% of partnerships fail because of not having the right expectations, right? So it's a key to take that time, get to build that trust, get to know each other, and set those proper expectations before launching a partnership. I mean, when we launch a partnership in the market, we want to make sure that there's something substantial behind it, right? It's not just a fluffy announcement.
Okay. The next question is from Prapul Palli. He's a regular on my show. So, hi Prapul, how are you? And he says, what are the benefits of industry cloud solutions and how people are benefited?
Yeah, I mean, from a customer perspective, I think we identified there's probably three main areas. One is that these are white space breakthrough innovations, so we're able to take huge advantage from these innovative solutions. Second is it's more agile, so it's cloud-based, either completely cloud or in a hybrid scenario, so it's quick to realize that benefit. And I think the third one is SAP in its industry cloud strategy is looking at how these pieces fit together from an end-to-end perspective. So I'm calling it or viewing it as a curated experience. So it's almost like we're saying that this is the best 2B architecture for you to adopt with some core SAP solutions and some industry cloud solutions from SAP partners or ecosystem. So you get that future-proof architecture as well. So they're the three ones I'd call out.
Okay. Next question is from Pinaki Chakladar. Hi Pinaki, how are you? He says, from the org chain perspective, would like to know how are we also building some gamification options? For example, using geofencing, using mobile app, GPS location to build end user experience. I don't know what that means in the first 5 words, but maybe we can talk about what do we do around gamification? Is that what?
Well, I can take a shot at that. I'm not sure that I understand the question 100%, but one thing that we are doing is the harbor in Hamburg in northern Germany was facing challenges around space. So they simply did not have an opportunity to expand the amount of space that they had. And it's basically a logistics operation, right? There's a lot of trucks coming in, they have to unload, and then they have to put stuff or take stuff off of a ship, which is a little bit simplified. But they use geofencing from a noted telecom in Germany, guess which one, and mobile applications in order to notify the truckers that when they were coming, arriving, that they would space out when they actually arrived at the actual unloading point. And so they were also able to gather real-time information, based on traffic updates. So as an example, if the truck was expected, to be there at 7 a.m. and there's a huge traffic jam and they can't get there until 9, they would take that into consideration. So it was all about optimizing the logistics, and it was complicated because you had, various parties and different companies. So you had the company that's operating the harbor operations. You had, of course, all the ships, which are all separate entities and potentially owned by different companies. And then, of course, all the independent truckers. But this application, gave visibility into the timing of the logistics, and therefore optimized the whole operation. So there was great benefit from all parties. So I think it's all about providing that transparency and visibility into the business process and being open to sharing that data, right? So a lot of the trucking companies felt like, well, that other guy's my competition, I'm not sure I want to share that information. But when they really looked at it, they felt like, okay, the other guy's going to be late occasionally too, right? And it's really going to be more of a benefit if we look at this holistically and share that data. So I think that's roughly what the question was, but hopefully I hit it.
Okay, that's fine. Guys, I hope you like what you're seeing, and I hope you're getting answers to your questions. If you've got any other question, please mention that in the comment section and I'll take that up. We've got very few left, very few questions left. So let's quickly go on. Swami Arava, hi Swami, how are you? Says, could you elaborate integration of IoT platform in cloud industry? Who wants to go?
I mean, I'll give it a go, and then if Evan can add, if he's got anything. I mean, the SAP Cloud Platform has some underlying capabilities with regard to IoT and integrations of IoT, devices and the messages. And then for me, then it's how it's applied by either partners, ecosystem, or ourselves. So it's really the underlying capabilities which enable some of the functionality which would be built by partners. But IoT is not something that, from a service industry perspective, we've seen a lot in terms of some of the early industry clouds, and maybe in other industries we'll see more of it.
Okay, perfect. Next question. Pinaki Chakradar said, my earlier question was around building UX from the org chain perspective and adoption by embedding stuff in SAP Fiori. I don't think we are the right people to answer that, so let's move on. Abhishek Sharma says, Evan, do we have any out-of-the-box functionality that SAP provides, like pre-developed content to directly improvise and see the value in industry cloud, which directly impacts delivery time and costs?
Yeah, thanks for that. SAP has a SAP model company, and that solution has been built out for both lines of business like supply chain as well as industries. And so what that is, simply put, is it's master data, it's transactional data, and it's pre-configured business processes. So from an implementation point of view, it's a real enabler for customers. So what they can do is, rather than starting with a kind of naked system and building out what the optimal business process is, they can take a look at that and make any adjustments that are necessary. But generally, this is considered to be best practices, and in many cases, the customer will take that one for one. But if adjustments are necessary, that's fine as well. Because oftentimes, getting back to the industry acumen piece, this is a key element. So if you're a telecom and you're looking at a demonstration, and the product that you're looking at is a widget, that was manufactured, you're going to have difficulty identifying with that, right? But if it's a cell phone, then it's something that is in your mindset, right? So you see, okay, I need the contract, I need to buy the physical cell phone itself, and then I have also all the accessories around that. And the cell phone is a bit like a fashion item because it has a certain life cycle of when the next iPhone or whatever it might be comes out. So I think all of those things come into consideration. But on this particular area, like I said, we have the SAP model company which meets these needs, and we are also working together with partners to build that out, because that is a key aspect in time to value for customers.
Okay. Last question with some meat. Shahnawaz Alam. Hi Shahnawaz, how are you? And I think you've had a question earlier as well. Do we have education industry or solution student learning management system also in roadmap?
So I don't know the exact details, but it is an area which is identified from an opportunity perspective by our higher education research IBU. So unfortunately, I don't know the exact details, but I think watch this space, because it is an area which is flagged up for us to do some innovation in or a partnership in. But I apologize, I don't know the exact details of that.
No problems. Message from Anindya Gupta, and Anindya is saying, it would be really great if the session recording could be shared on this page at a later time. We would like to share this with our colleagues. Definitely, for sure, Anindya. I will do that, and if you want, you can reach out to me directly as well, and I'll provide you all the links. There's a lot of content which has been recorded in the past as well for public consumption. Prabhul Palli says, thank you, Shailendra. Thank you, Prabhul. And Prabhul says, thank you, Jonathan Rhodes. That was the question he asked. Thank you very much. So these were the questions, guys. And thank you very much, Evan and Jonathan. But before you go, I always ask my guests to make a one-line comment or say a phrase about, in this case, Industry Cloud, so that what people can remember going forward. People remember, I come from consulting background, people remember things that are 3 words, 4 words, not more than that, the memory goes fade. So if you've got a phrase to share, please, this is the time. I'll start with Evan, because I'll start with Evan alphabetically, please. Evan.
Yeah, sure. Industry Cloud is the place to be. It is a key part of SAP's corporate strategy, and it's being readily embraced by customers. So we would love to work together with you in order to grow your business together with SAP in the Industry Cloud. So looking forward to seeing you out in the out there in the market and driving that joint value proposition for industry.
John?
So for me, if you just remember that essentially Industry Cloud is industry focused, agile, cloud-based innovation. That's all you need from me.
Good stuff. That was short and sweet. So guys, thank you very much for your time. I know it's early morning and your day just starts. My day's ending, or already ended. But this shows the diversity. This shows the different part of the world when they come together. You guys starting your day and ending my day in Australia. It's good. Thank you very much for your time, and it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
really.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. And to the audience, I hope you learned a few things on Industry Cloud from these two gentlemen here. It was a pleasure to have Evan Schultz and Jonathan Rhodes, not Jonty Rhodes, as I said, not the Jonty Rhodes, but Jonty Rhodes. And I hope it was valuable. If you've got any questions which I have missed and you're watching this a replay, then please mention that in the comment section. I will definitely reach out to the guys and take the question again. Finally, if you're watching this on LinkedIn, please follow me. If you're watching me on Twitter, please follow me. If you're watching this on YouTube, then please press the subscribe button and smash the bell icon. But if you're watching this on Facebook, please share this with as many groups as possible and also like as we go, so more and more people can learn from this particular episode. So thank you very much for your time, and it was a pleasure having you all here, and see you very soon, I think next week. So take care. Bye now.